Alright, so I wanted to do a Q&A because I know that a lot of my fans only really know me from the songs that I say instead of like, who I am. And I want the fan base to be more of a family instead of just like I put out content, y'all like the content. So I'm gonna start with like the hardest question or like the longest question I got, which was hold on. It was take the fans through the whole album and what each song means to me. Honestly, the entire album was basically me telling the story of what happened to me over a 3-year process, kind of like 6th to like ninth grade, which was just last year. And it was me just kind of taking what happened and putting into a song, element story from my perspective, which is like prequel was me in 6th grade because I was a nerdy kid. I didn't really have any friends. I was fat. My hair was all over the place. Nothing wrong with being fat, but still. And I didn't really know what I was going to do with myself. I just read a lot of fantasy books and buried my nose in the books. Was worried about grades. I probably should be still, but it was just a hard time in my life for me. But it was also simple as well because I didn't know anything worse. Third period was kind of like, alright, so for the longest time in 6th grade when I was reading these books, I kind of became infatuated with the idea of this one girl, because you know how every protagonist in all the books nowadays has a love interest, and I thought of a love interest and all her features and all this, and then one day basically she walked into my Spanish class, which was third period, and it like blew my mind, and I was just instantly infatuated. And I say infatuation because it wasn't like a love or a like I was just, all my thoughts were her, and I was scared, and all I could think about was what I would say to her. So instead of doing notes anymore, I would just write down like letters and, I don't know, words and little doodles of her, just in case I ever got the courage to speak to her. And I guess find myself was like skipped down a couple months. She actually thought that I was cute or whatever, and we started talking and we were friends. And I wanted to take her out on a date, which was pretty cool. And it was just a bunch of hesitation for me because I've never done this kind of thing before, and I was still I wasn't confident in myself at all, which I guess was kind of a flaw. But like, I was really content with just being her friend if she didn't want to be in a relationship, because she was an amazing person to me, honestly. Like, I was just wanting to be there with her wherever there may be. And that's the entirety of the song. And I guess MILF was just a little fun thing that I kind of threw in there. Because, like, when I tell y'all, to me, for the longest time, she was the most beautiful person I've ever seen. Like, 6th grade's me was mind blown. And even in 7th grade, like, just mind blown. It was wild. I couldn't even comprehend what was going on with her. And it was amazing because, one, we were both really young. So for her to be that cute at that age before like actual puberty, it's just like wild. And I had to throw in the MILF hook in there because otherwise it's not a fun love song. And Speak With You, honestly, I was just kinda, it was at that point in time where between kind of MILF and Speak With You on the time frame, the timeline, we stopped talking as much. And I still carried the same infatuation, but she got a boyfriend, actually, and that really, like, just hurt. Like, it ripped me in half. But I dealt with it because we were still friends, and, whenever she had a problem, she'd come to me for help. And I just hoped that she would speak to me like she used to, or whatever. I wanted to feel the same as what we once had, and I was still at the same level of infatuation to the point that I couldn't see anyone else. Like, there were so many people who were trying to talk to me who wanted better for me than probably she did, and I just kind of ignored them. And I guess for Carpet Ride, we started talking again like I wanted her to, or like I wanted her to do to me. And I wanted to take her out on dates, do everything special for her, And honestly, I just wanted to treat her right and take her out on a carpet ride, kind of like all the Disney love songs where the prince is dancing around and, I don't know, showing the princess all that could be, ignoring all the ones with strong female roles. Those are cool too. I really fuck with Pocahontas. I'm not a Mulan fan, but that's just because I think the dragon was a bit overdone. People are gonna hate me for this. For that. Carpet, do I? I can honestly tell you, I do not remember what that song's about. Shipwrecked, I remember that one. Basically, I took her out on a date, and then near the end of the date, it was getting kind of dark. I wanted to walk her home so that she would be safe. And then she called up a ride, and it was a dude who was our age, and I was, she's getting a ride home, but I felt like we had something again. I felt like we could be something, and then it obviously wasn't just our friend. So it just kind of blew me up. And, honestly, throughout the prequel and then Shipwrecked, there's a lot that happened within those 3 years that was just kind of teetering down the steps of what should have been and what I should have held to a standard of myself. And it just kind of flopped. And honestly, I kept lowering my standards because I wanted her, and I could only see her, for so long. Even if I got in other relationships, I looked for people like her because that's all I wanted. And then finally, the last song, So Long, that's basically kind of what happened when I realized that I could do better. I didn't need her, and she never really did good for me. She didn't ever treat me right. She didn't ever treat me how you should treat someone who wants to give you all their time. And it's not the fact that she didn't love me or like me, which she said that she did many times. It's the fact that despite all of this, she wouldn't even treat me humanely as a friend. But she wanted me there for her at all the times. She always treated me like a rebound. And it was a bad situation. So kind of my point on advice with that is I know a lot of people have low self-esteem. They don't think highly of themselves. They think really high of other people. But you're worth it. And if someone is not treating you how they should in a relationship, you should do your best to get out of it. Because after trying and trying and trying again, if that person's not willing to fix what they're doing, if they know that it's hurting you, they're not good for you. On to the next question. So, what artists inspire my songs? I don't really have influences from my music, though I'm inspired whenever I hear a good song, usually by Atwood, Headhunter, and whenever I listen to Brockhampton, I just have to find a beat and go at it because it just lights a fire and it just rises through my chest. What got me to start as an artist? Honestly, one time I just got tired of making really crappy music, so I took my lyrics past the YouTube comment garbage level and evolved it into the truth of me and what I'm about so that I could completely explain me, and it just kind of morphed into something more, which is also a good song. When did I first start getting into doing music? I want to say I started getting into music at May when I dropped That Girl and everything started skyrocketing. But I've been making music since last year May as well. But I will say that was as a joke because everyone in the locker room would just start doing freestyles. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And then what's my writing process? Usually I find a beat or get sent a beat, then I sit down for 15 minutes and voila, there's a song. I don't necessarily have something too much of a process. If it's a sad song, I'll write in the dark, I guess. And I always listen with the music turned all the way up. I don't even want to hear my voice when I'm writing. Who hurt me? Good question. Lot of people. Next question. What inspires me to write songs, and what's the click that makes me think that I should write a song about it? Honestly, what inspires me to write a song is when I hear a beat and it just clicks and immediately I know exactly what I'm writing about, which is mostly love songs, but still, I don't know. It's weird for me because other people say that they have to think on it for a while. But, normally if I have something that's bothering me or something that I feel passionate about, I'll write a song about it. Like, I've wrote love songs for my girlfriend. I've wrote pity because I just feel like too many people say that they're sorry when they don't mean it, or they say that they're sorry when it's not their fault, but on top of that, they don't necessarily care, they just don't know how to react to you telling something that they asked you about. And I feel like that's a problem. What's my favorite flavor of ice cream? Honestly, I haven't eaten ice cream in a long time, so I think I might have forgotten. I'll have to answer this in another Q&A if I do one. When are we going to collab? From Lucy. I'm really bad at collabs and getting back to them, so I'm gonna get back to this question later. Who was Greenlight about? Greenlight was about this girl who I barely noticed until it was too late. Like, she was down for me, she wanted the best for me. She was cute. This was all before I started talking to my current girlfriend. And, like, she wanted to see me shine, but I didn't really notice until she herself had moved on. And when I wanted her back, I guess I kind of missed the green light to go. It was too late. She's already on the next stop. Which was my fault, but it's whatever. My favorite band? Brockhampton's my favorite boy band. Do my parents support my music? My parents support my music so much that it's embarrassing, but I love them all the same for it because I know that there's so many musicians whose parents don't necessarily support their music, and I can just feel how disheartened they are from it, and, it's just shitty. If your child's doing something and they're proud of it, you should at least attempt. Best shower thought I've ever had? The best shower thought I've ever had would probably be the idea for my tape, and that I should collab with Atwood, and that I should try dipping my pizza in ranch, because I saw that on YouTube one time, but I never necessarily tried it because I thought it'd be gross. It's amazing. How do I practice my singing, and how do I record, and where do I record? I don't really practice ever. I just kind of sing whenever I feel like it, and I record in my room with that mic. Yeah, I'm pointing at it. That mic. That's about it. I don't necessarily have any soundproofing equipment. I just sit in front of my bed with the mic like near my mouth and go. It's not necessarily a processed stuff. It's Focusrite, if y'all want to know. What would I recommend to other young artists? Honestly, I want to say that, like, people and artists and other writers get discouraged often because they're not as good as they'd like to be when they start. But I would also like to out myself and say I sucked for like a good 10 months before I was even on beat. It's such a process in being like a writer and stuff, and even a producer, that you gotta work through all of the dirt before you can see any gold. But I feel like it's definitely worth it, because once you reach a point where you can start using music as therapy, it's like a weight's lifted off your chest. Or even if you just have like fans that love you, it's an amazing feeling that nothing else compares to. How long have my girlfriend and I been together? 3 months, but in this month, on the 24th, which is the day I'm performing at my first show, actually, it'll be 4 months. It's really nice, I guess. Do I think becoming famous will change me? No, I will still be the insecure, overly loving, anxiety-ridden, depressed, sad kid that y'all know. Who are my favorite producers? Garrett, who I've worked with. Frith, who I've worked with. Halberd, who I've worked with in Colliding with Mars, or Christian, who I'm going to work with. And then also Tyler, the Creator, because his production's like amazing. Sorry, my dog was barking. Do a lot of people touch my hair? Which is a question I got over Snapchat. So many people, they just like reach up without even asking, and they're like, oh my god, your hair is so soft. Only people who are really allowed to touch my hair would be my mom and my girlfriend, because I have problems with people being in my personal space enough to actually touch my hair. Like, I don't rock with y'all like that. What am I going to college for? I'm not going to college, honestly. And if you are, that's great on you, but I feel like school isn't for me. And when I tell people that I'm going to do music, they kind of laugh at it, but I truly feel like this is something that's my passion. Future collabs? I got one with Samsa, one with Atwood, way more with Halberd, way more with Frith, way more with Garrett. Besides that, I'm not exactly certain, but I bet there are people who are gritting their teeth because I didn't mention their name. How do I manage time in making these songs despite the fact that I have school? Would probably be I write a lot on the weekend, and nowadays most of my songs are usually just freestyles because I don't necessarily have the time to like sit down and write something out. Why am I always shirtless in my snaps and Instagram photos? It's hot in Texas. It's always hot. And so to avoid dehydration from sweating out all of the water in my body, I never wear a shirt. I mean, I'm wearing a jacket now. Who's my dream collab? You know, I don't really have someone that I dream to collab with, but I would love to listen to like a Brockhampton song with Atwood on it. I feel like he would just go right with the flow and murder the entire song, like all of it. How was my childhood? That's a weird question, considering I'm still really young. How old am I? To clear the air about it, since a lot of people think I'm like 17, 18, or just an age that I'm not, even though I look really young. I'm 15, and I'll be 15 until March 18th of 2018. Nice. If I did not make music, what would be my hobby? If I did make music, I'd probably still write, but that's only because I'm a huge sci-fi and fantasy nerd and stuff, like dragons and lasers. And besides that, I suppose I'm good at football. Kind of. Why do I bless the YouTube fam with so many songs? It's because y'all are worth it, and also in like this endless time consumed by school, you guys warm it up by leaving nice comments because you're all so lovely. Who am I most inspired by? I'm not really influenced by anyone, and I've already listed my inspirations a while back. What did I learn from rapping? I learned a lot from rapping. Mainly that when you have, 3,000 followers, everyone wants free features, but when you had 300 and you were making the same quality music at the same level, they didn't like you at all. Someone asked, how are my flows so godly? Honestly, I don't even think, that's flattering. Honestly, I don't even think about it when I write, like, it just kind of happens. That's kind of an odd question to answer, because I don't really think about my creative process, I just go. Does the girl I sing about know that I'm in love with her, or is it a secret? My girlfriend loves all the songs that I make about her. All of them. And she's been most of all of my biggest songs. I think all of them except the entire tape. Like, none of the songs on the tape are about her. But past that, it's all her. What are my inspirations for music? Stop asking me this. What's my main fear in music and how people talk about my music? My main fear in music is that I can't buy pizza with music money. And I don't really care about how people talk about my music because mostly I make it for myself, and the fact that other people enjoy it is a plus, but it really just helps me to vent. Do I write some of my songs on whim, or are they all day thought about? A lot of my songs are wrote in like 15 minutes or freestyled because I simply don't have the time, and I feel like if I take too long to write a song, it becomes more developed and fabricated than it actually is supposed to be, because if I feel a song, it's going to come out quick, but if I have to think about it, then it's not truly genuine for me. Why did I choose to do lo-fi instead of any other genre? I just kind of do lo-fi. Like, I can do trap and boom bap, and I can even do Chance the Rapper stuff. I feel like I can. And I like trap stuff, but lo-fi is just kind of... It's easy, it's quick to do, and it's always available for me because I have a fan base in lo-fi, so I always have like a constant flow of lo-fi beats to use. And I think it's great. Plus, not a lot of people want to hear me talking about my failure in love life over any other beat but lo-fi. What's my favorite who's my favorite musician? Probably Atwood. Atwood's my favorite musician, definitely, because he's so versatile, And then with all of his flows, his cadence, the way he can switch up his delivery, his high notes are amazing. Like, he's definitely one of my favorite musicians that I've heard in my 15 years of life. And a song that I would recommend would be Model Behavior by Mac Keen. It's amazing. I've been listening to it all day, and everyone else should listen to it. Like, I'm stuck on it. Where am I looking to go from here? Where am I looking to go from here? I'm looking to perform more and definitely collab more from here, because you can never collab too much. And also, I'm trying to get more of a local fan base settled and work on my performing, because I want to live off of music, but I want to live off of shows, because the atmosphere of a show, the atmosphere of performing in front of a crowd of people who are there for you is amazing. It's undescribable. And do I rap for Samsa? The two of us sound so similar. I don't know what this means exactly, but I mean, no, I don't. And I mean, I suppose we sound similar just based on the fact that we both use lo-fi beats. But then again, if you listen to the substance of our lyrics and the cadence and the flow that we both use, it's completely different. We're two different artists. And to all the people who think that I'm either Atlas or Samsa, or really just mix any of the three of us together, I think you should focus more on listening to what the artist is saying, because I think we're all in agreement, us three, that we're different. We're not necessarily all the same. You just gotta, like, listen. Who would I love to work with one day? Tyler, the Creator. No other answers. What's my favorite color? Purple or this shade of blue? I have 6 identical jackets to this. Except, some have strings, and that's the one that my girlfriend stole. Do the people in my life know that I make music? A lot of people know that I make music, but when I just started making music, like just barely, I showed everyone my music and it really sucked. So now people think I still suck and no one wants to listen to my music. It's tragic. Any tips for someone who wants to start creating? Honestly, the best way to start creating is to just hop in. Like, if you want to produce, download FL. If you want to start rapping, then download Audacity. And if you want to start rapping, you don't necessarily need an expensive mic, because a lot of phone mics are really decent if you just record in a quiet space. And I feel like the more that you progress, the more you go down the rabbit hole, the better you'll get. But it's definitely a process, Do I play any games because someone needs suggestions that they're slowly dying of boredom? Honestly, I only play Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm really nerdy for that, but I don't really have any other games, so I just play a tabletop role-playing game with a couple of friends. It's really fun, actually. Will you be my friend? Coming from someone. Hit my Instagram DMs at love_sadKID. I try to be really friendly, and I'm even becoming good friends with a lot of fans that have just hit me up, because a lot of y'all are really chill people. I try to respond to a lot of DMs. Sometimes I can't get to them, because I swear I have like 90 and it's just ridiculous. Do I hang out with other internet artists? I don't, but I want to really bad. Who inspired me to start making music and rap and stuff? Probably when I first heard Kyle and Chance the Rapper, I knew that I actually had to try rapping, because they're still my favorite artists, and I put Chance in like the top 10 rap artists to exist. Definitely. How do I come up with my lyrics? They just come to me. I usually have one line in my head. That's the... Chill. Oh, that's why. How do I come up with my lyrics? Usually I have one line in my head, and the entire song is basically an essay to that thesis statement, Who's the artist for my art? Krosky. On, like, all my social media, he basically draws my cover art, and I gotta thank him for doing such a good job, especially since he makes some of my favorite songs, too. Like, swear, y'all should check him out on Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud. It's basically just all Krosky. CHRO Sky. And if I could make three people, dead or alive, who would they be? Halberd colliding with Mars and Gomery, because those are my boys. And if you don't know who those are, you should check all of them out on SoundCloud. How do I explain that Lil Pump is a better lyricist than I am by miles? Lil Pump can beautifully craft lit songs like D-Rose and my personal favorite, Obama, where he repeats the previous president's names many times, and then even uses my favorite crafted line of all hip-hop of I sell crack on PayPal just like Obama, which is a perfect example of the rhetorical language, simile. It's amazing how well he crafted it. And someone just said butts. I still agree. Cake or pie, which was asked by my girlfriend. Whichever there is, I'm not picky. But I honestly won't eat anything that involves either carrots or bananas. Those are gross. If I could collab with any artist, who would it be and what would the song topic be? If I could collab with any artist, it'd be Tyler, the Creator, just as a producer. And I'd probably have it either be about my fear of growing up or a love song, because that's what I'm good at. My entire career so far is based off of that. What's my opinion on pizza? Dude, just fuck me up with it. Like, I'm a part of the Papa John's Master Race just because it's cheap, and whenever it's local I can get it. But like, pizza's amazing, especially when you buy it with money that you've made off of music. Like, when you buy my songs, that's exactly where it's going. Would I kill myself for $0 billion? I would, but my girlfriend would kill me if I killed myself. Dogs or cats? Dogs. I have a handsome mutt named James who's back there sleeping. He's like a border collie boxer mix, but I call him a mutt because it's easier. What's my real name and how'd I get my artist name? My name's Ben. I know a lot of my friends know it, but not a lot of fans know it. And I got my artist name because I either make love songs or sad songs, as well as the fact that I'm a sad kid and I want y'all to love me. But also, basically, I used to sign off every single love letter I wrote with love, sad kid. That way it didn't necessarily give off my name, but it was something that was unique to me that no one else really would sign off on. So if it was ever found out through a hint or whatever, they would know it's me and someone wouldn't claim all of my poetic stuff that I wrote for all those girls. Why do I be looking like a snack? Someone asked. It's honestly because of my messy hair. It's like my best feature. It looks stupid right now, but whatever. Do I have a philosophy for life, and if so, what is it, and has it changed? My philosophy for life is things don't bother you if you don't let them. Like, kind of a go with the flow sort of vibe. If something happens to me and it hurts me, I guess it'll hurt me for a little bit, but I'll just go with it because I can't change what already happened, and there's no use feeling bad for something that you can't change. Someone asked, why am I so ugly? I think it's the triangle eyebrows, to be honest with you. Probably. How'd I get good at songwriting? It was a gradual process because I sucked for like 10 years. Or 10 months. And then I started writing about how I felt instead of what I thought would just sound good. And it turned my words into something instead of just sounding like a YouTube comment under a generic rap beat. It kind of just sounded crafted. People loved it. Someone asked, how many boys? 7.5. And what artists? I think that's all of them. So, I want to say thank you for listening to this long-winded Q&A. I want to say thank you to whoever edited it. I will say you'll put their name in here, like right here. I want to say thank you to everyone who asked a question. Thank you to everyone who listens to my music. And thank you for watching all this if you got to the end, because it's just a long-winded amount of me talking and monotone. I'm not very interesting. I'm working on a lot of new music, including a couple of EPs that all have themes. And a series of EPs, actually, that's just in thought right now, but it's definitely going to happen. I already have art for it. And, school sucks, so I hope you guys aren't having a hard as time as I am. And if you are, then I sincerely apologize, and I hope that, I hope that you can get through it. I'm gonna leave now because I'm socially awkward.